30,000 fans at Accor Stadium turning to a collective gasp of horror as Adam Reynolds, the grizzled warrior of the Broncos, crumples to the turf like a fallen oak in a storm, his calf seizing in betrayal just minutes into the second half of the 2025 NRL Grand Final. Tears streaming down his battle-hardened face, he claws at the ground, refusing help at first, before two teammates hoist him like a broken idol, carrying him off into the shadows of the sidelines. Was this the cruel twist that would doom Brisbane's premiership dreams after 18 agonizing years? Or the spark that ignites an underdog legend? Hold on tight. This is the story of a halfback's heartbreak that redefined rugby league immortality. If that gut punch didn't floor you, smash that subscribe button right now on Aussie NRL updates, your front row seat to every brutal twist in the game we love. Don't miss a beat. Hit notifications and join the frenzy. The sun-baked Sydney sky hung heavy over Accor Stadium on October 5, 2025, as the Brisbane Broncos and Melbourne Storm locked horns in a grand final clash that promised glory or gut-wrenching despair. Adam Reynolds, at 34, wasn't just the Broncos' captain. He was their heartbeat, a South Sydney export who dragged Brisbane from the wilderness with his pinpoint kicks and unyielding grit. Drafted back in 2021 after a career laced with triumphs and torments, a ruptured ACL in 2021 that nearly ended him, a bicep tear in the 2022 prelims that forced him to watch his teams charge from the stands, Reynolds had become the symbol of resilience. This was his shot at the ultimate redemption, leading a ragtag squad of young guns like Reece Walsh and Ezra Mam against Craig Bellamy's machine-like Storm. The first half unfolded like a thriller, Storm striking first with Harry Grant's slide dummy, Broncos countering with Walsh's electric footwork that left Jarome Hughes grasping at air. At halftime, Storm led 22-12, the air thick with tension. Reynolds, sweat-soaked and snarling, huddled his troops in the sheds, his voice a gravelly whip cracking through doubt. We've come too far to fold now, boys. This is our blood on the line. As they burst back onto the field, the crowd's chant of Broncos, Broncos, swelled like a tidal wave. Reynolds scooped the ball at marker, his eyes locked on the try line, every muscle coiled for the kill. He darted left, feinting past a lunging Trent Loiero, the stadium erupting in anticipation. But then, mid-stride, 15 metres out, disaster struck, an innocuous pivot on the juice-lit grass, and his right calf exploded in white-hot agony. He staggered, then dropped, clutching his leg as if it were a severed limb. Teammates froze. The referee's whistle pierced the chaos like a dagger. Was this the end? The Broncos' spine shattered before their eyes? Medics swarmed, Reynolds waving them off fiercely, his face a mask of raw defiance twisted into pain. Ben Hunt rushed over, the veteran hooker dropping to his knees. Whispering urgencies no one could hear over the din slowly, agonizingly, they lifted him, Reynolds' arm slung over Hunt's shoulder, his free hand pounding his chest in futile rage. Carried off through a tunnel of stunned silence, he glanced back one last time at the battlefield, his halfback partner Mam stepping up with wide-eyed resolve. The Storm sensed blood, Jarome Hughes barking orders to pounce on the disarray. But wait, what if this fracture wasn't fracture at all, but the forge for something unbreakable? As the clock ticked mercilessly, Brisbane's bench erupted in a frenzy of adjustments, Ezra Mam slotting into the pivot with a nod that screamed, "We got this." The crowd, sensing the epic pivot, began a slow clap that built to thunder. Storm pressed, a Cameron Munster bomb hanging like a guillotine, but Walsh soared above the fray, plucking it from the gods and sparking a counter that had the decibel level shattering records. Reynolds, from the medic's bay, watched on a grainy screen, his fists clenched white-knuckled, willing his brothers forward. Minutes blurred into eternity, a Hunt offload to Kotoni Staggs slicing through the blue wall, a Mam grubber that kissed the upright teasingly before rolling dead. Storm hit back, a Will Warbrick aerial masterclass narrowing the gap to 4, the tension coiling tighter than a hangman's noose. Then, surprise, the Broncos' defense, fueled by phantom fury, repelled a Storm set on their line, forcing a turnover that sent the ball ricocheting into Mam's hands. He burst free, offloading to Walsh, who danced past 3 defenders in a blur of speed and sleight, dotting down under the posts. Conversion good, level at 22 all with 12 minutes left. The stadium quaked. Reynolds, leg iced and elevated, pounded the trainer's table, his roar lost in the melee but felt in every Broncos jersey pulsing as one. Cliffhanger loomed, Storm's final assault, Munster's chip chased by a pack of wolves, only for Staggs to intercept like a hawk, racing 60 metres before being hauled down inches short. The hooter wailed, golden point. Hearts hammered, legends hung in the balance. What fury would Reynolds' absence unleash? Or had the Storm already stolen the script's final act deep into Golden Point? The Accor Stadium lights cast long shadows over Warriors pushed to the brink, where every breath was a battle cry and every step a gamble with fate. Ezra Mam, thrust into the halfback's crucible at just 22, channeled Reynolds' ghost, his eyes, usually wide with youthful fire, now narrowed in steely inheritance. The Storm, sensing vulnerability, unleashed their maestros, Munster's sleight-of-hand passes weaving illusions, Grant's sniping runs probing cracks like a surgeon's scalpel. Brisbane's line held, bodies piling in, Selwyn Cobbo's thunderous tackles echoing like cannon fire, Pat Carrigan's relentless carries grinding yards from granite. Off the field, Reynolds paced the medic's tent on crutches, his calf throbbing like a war drum. Subscribe now to Aussie NRL updates. Catch every comeback, every controversy, straight from the heart of Aussie footy. As dawn crept over Sydney's harbourside on October 6, 2025, the afterglow of Brisbane's improbable premiership mingled with the ache of Adam Reynolds' sideline vigil, a tale that rippled from locker rooms to living rooms across the nation. Reynolds, the Everman's gladiator, born in the Queensland cane fields, mulled by South's mean streets, had scripted his life in sweat and setbacks. Recruited to the Broncos amid whispers of decline, he'd rebuilt them brick by brutal brick, masterminding the 2023 prelim upset over Melbourne, his Golden Point field goal a dagger that still haunted Bellamy's dreams. This 2025 grand final? It was the crescendo, a halfback's odyssey against time's relentless march. The injury, that vicious calf snap at the 45-minute mark, wasn't mere misfortune. It was the plot's savage pivot, forcing the narrative into uncharted fury. Helped off by Hunt and Mam, Reynolds' departure left a void wider than the Brisbane River. His 40-metre torpedoes, his defensive reads like chess grandmaster moves, all silenced in an instant. Yet, from the trainer's bench, he became Oracle, headset on, dissecting Storm plays with forensic bite, urging Seibold to shift Hunt to 5/8, unleashing Mam's raw flair. The comeback? Pure alchemy. Down 10 at the break, Broncos clawed level by the 68th, then Golden Point sorcery with Walsh's decoy flipping to Stags for the winner. Post-whistle, Reynolds emerged on crutches, medal heavy around his neck, hoisted by teammates onto shoulders slick with victory sheen. "This one's for you, Skip," Walsh bellowed, the prodigy who'd idolised him since juniors. Tears flowed freer than the darling, Reynolds' speech a guttural vow, "Pain's just fuel, lads. We burn brighter for it." But the morrow brought reality's bite, MRI confirming a partial tear, 6 to 8 weeks out, robbing him of state of origin prep and early 2026 rounds. Whispers swirled, retirement at 35, or a defiant rehab, chasing one more ring. Surprise revelation in the presser, Reynolds had played through a niggle all-final series, taping his leg like a secret weapon, only for the grand stage to exact its toll. Fans flooded socials, #Reynolds rises trending globally, tributes from rivals like Cleary and Luai hailing his warrior code. Brisbane streets turned maroon parade, kids in mini-jerseys mimicking his phantom limp-turn triumph. Seibold, eyes misty, dubbed it the Reynolds effect, how one man's fall galvanised a franchise. Looking ahead, the Broncos' dynasty, Mam's ascension, Walsh's supernova, Hunt's grizzled glue. Yet Reynolds' shadow looms largest,